Hey everybody, it's Luke over at Galaxy Tech Review, and today we've got a product from Frewico. This is their Bluetooth smartwatch that you can check out on Amazon for 65 bucks. I will leave a link in the description below where you can check this out. Now, I read through some of the Amazon reviews on this particular watch, and a lot of people were getting very frustrated, saying that they could not hook it up, or the app was all in Chinese, and all kinds of weird stuff. So I did not happen to have those problems, but I did run into a few things that as I go over my review, I may be able to enlighten people on as far as how to get things connected and making sure that they're working correctly. Again, I didn't have any problems with getting the watch connected. I didn't have any problems with it actually being all in Chinese or anything like that. So let's bust right into this, get into it, and show you what comes inside. They do a good job of packing this up. They even line the top with foam so that it doesn't get damaged in packaging. It's encased in plastic and also surrounded by more foam, so they did a really good job on the packing here. I'm going to pull everything out so that we can show you guys what's going on here. They give us a nice user manual. They do give us a sync cable. They do give us a card as well. It's a micro SD card that has the application on it for hooking this up to your Android phone. Now, this will work with iOS, but it will have limited functionality. And that's what a lot of these Linux-based OS smartphones that you see coming out of China do, is that they've written APK files, or the APK files for Android, but they have not. They have limited functionality on iOS. You can use it to take calls and receive calls on iOS, but you can't get push notifications and stuff like that. The pedometer, the internal workings will still work. Your pedometer will still work. Your sedentary reminder will still work. Your sleep function will still work. All of that will still work, but there are certain things that are just made for Android on these Chinese smartwatches. I happen to have a clear cover on this guy that it comes shipped with, so I'll take it off just to show you guys the actual overall niceness of the screen in just a second. Let's take a look really quickly at the product overview. It's a 1.54 240 by 240 pixel 2.5D curved touchscreen, and as you can see, if you look really closely, the touchscreen actually curves down into the bezel here, which is really awesome. There's a front-facing camera on this as well. I don't have the exact stat on the front-facing camera. It's a fairly low quality on that. Now, you do get three clocks, main clocks that you can switch from. You also get 3 wallpaper settings. Again, this is a closed OS. It's not Android Wear. It's not anything like that. It's a Linux-based OS that you find on a lot of these smartwatches, which might sound initially like a bad thing, but it actually does everything well. So it's really not that bad unless you're super into customizing your smartwatch. You're not going to have any problems. You can get into your wallpapers, and you can choose a wallpaper that you like. They've got a couple different ones, and they've got a couple different main clock settings, and then of course all of these icons are going to do different things too, and I'll go over that in just a few minutes. Downloading the software, you can click on the QR code icon, and actually if you have a QR scanner on your phone, just scan it. I had a problem with mine. I have a Galaxy Note 4 that is running Android 5.1.1, and it told me when I scanned the QR code that my phone wasn't compatible. But luckily what they have done is they have given us the APK on this micro SD card. It's a 128 megabyte micro SD card. They give you the APK so that you can just transfer it to your phone and run it. Just be in mind that if you're going to side load the APK, that you want to have allow unknown sources checked in your settings in Android so that you can do that. And I'll do that in just a second. We'll install the application. Actually, I'll do that while we're doing this so that can get this show on the road. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go to My Files. We're going to find it. It's called BT Notification, and there's a version number there. I'll try to link that in the one below there. And it's going to say BT Notification, do you want to install it? Just like you're installing almost any other application, and you're going to say yes, you want to, because obviously if we don't install it, we're not going to be able to communicate with the watch. So another thing, you're going to have to check your accessibility settings. That's one thing that I wanted to point out, that if it's not set and BT Notification isn't allowed in accessibility settings, it will not work. So you have to do that too. I'll show you that in just a second. And then You've got several different functions: text messaging with the watch, phone book, Bluetooth. Obviously, turns your Bluetooth on and off. You've got your dialer. You've got a remote camera. You've got anti-lost, which means if I push that, it'll look for the phone. If I do it on the watch, if I do it on the phone, it'll look for the watch, and each one of them will beep, so you can find your watch and or phone, which is actually cool. You've got your pedometer. You've got a sleep monitor. You've got sedentary reminder. You've got the QR code for downloading the actual app, and a bunch of other things as well. Audio player, video player. Obviously, you have your camera in there. You do have an FM radio, and you have to use an earphone or a set of earphones that are micro USB. Now, they don't supply those, but you can buy them on Amazon for like $8. So your FM radio will not work without using a micro USB ear or headphone connected to your charge port, and it uses that as an antenna. So you've got that there, and it uses an antenna. So anyway, let's fire this guy up too while we're waiting. I am installed here. So we're going to open this guy up. Now there's a couple things that I want to, it says enable accessibility. So we're going to want to go to OK. And then we go into accessibility down here. And actually I'm going to cancel this real quick because it's got a Bluetooth pairing request. BT notification is off. We're going to want to click on it and go to on, turn that guy on. It will be able to monitor your actions and retrieve window content. So you make sure that this is on. This is for your push notifications. So you've got that. So now our BT notification is on and we're good to go. So here we go. It push the pairing, so we want to say OK because it matches, the code matches there and it matches on the phone, so we're going to say OK. We're going to say yes, and it's going to connect. It's going to ask me whether I want to allow my contacts and phone log access to my contacts and phone log. I'm going to say allow. And now it's going to say the Galaxy Note 4 is connected. So we are now connected. It says sync date and time, and I'm going to say yes so that it syncs my date and time. And there's a push notification right now just saying that the BT notification has connected remotely. So I can view it, and I can look at it, and it says BT notification connected remote to remote device. And I can either delete it or block it or empty it. We're just going to go back for now. So everything is connected. Everything seems to be working. Let's do a test call real quick. Show you guys that we can make phone calls with this and get it going. So here's our main dialer. We can just click on this, and I don't know. I'm just going to dial 611. I have T-Mobile in here, and again, you have a SIM card slot in this and an SD card, a micro SD card slot. I will shut it down and show you in just a second. But I wanted to do a quick call just so that you guys can see what the call quality is like on this. And it should light up with, see how it has a local call and BT call. For some reason, it's not giving me my BT call right now. So what I'm going to do is just make sure I've got everything set here in my Bluetooth settings. That's one thing you do want to check. Now, I did find one thing. It says connected here, but it doesn't say connected to media audio or phone audio. So what I want to do, you want to go in and you want to make sure that these guys are checked to on. So call audio and media audio need to be on. That's another thing that people may have had a problem with. I had to go back through and make sure it doesn't disconnect. It's only the first time you do it. When it reconnects or loses connection or this runs out of battery, you're not going to have to do this again. This is just a first time setup thing. So always remember to check under your paired Bluetooth device where it says Frewico right here, connected to phone and media audio, so that you can get everything going that way. So there are a couple reasons, like I said, people were having problems, and I can see where they would get tripped up, but it's not anything that's too bad. You can go cycle through 3 different main clock faces. I kind of like this first one here, and you can swipe to the right to get to your main, and again you've got all these things in here. So let's do our test call really quickly, make sure that that comes up for us. Where are we here? Let's go back to home. There's our call button. We'll call T-Mobile, why not? There we go, BT call. Now, if you had your SIM in, local call would also come up. And I've had a T-Mobile SIM in this as well, and you only get 3G. You don't get 4G or LTE or anything like that. You're going to get 2G, 3G. But that's fine. For a watch, a standalone, I don't really need 4G for this watch. So I'm going to say OK, and we're processing through the Bluetooth. So it's going to call through the phone. So no problems there, making a call quickly to T-Mobile. I didn't want to take up any of their time there. But as you can see, phone calls working, no problem. Again, push notifications come through every time they pop up here. They'll pop up on the phone. So I'm getting, even phone stuff from my phone. Internal, and the way I can show you that is go back and you're going to go, it says notification push applications are on. If you want to select which ones you want, you can go in here and it's going to list personal apps and system apps on this. So I can have Google Cardboard send me apps if I really want to, any games that I haven't, Facebook, any of that stuff, we'll do it. The system apps, you don't really need those, to be honest. A lot of that is going to be like, even if the phone does something or does whatever, you're going to get a ton of. So usually what I do is I unselect all the system apps and then save. And then my personal apps, that's fine. I can, Netflix isn't going to send me anything, that type of thing, so I don't really care. That's fine. So now that we're out of it, we're good to go. You've got SMS push notices and calls on. As you saw, calls worked no problem. If you want to look for the watch, you can use this. And, as soon as I shake the watch, it's vibrating. And then I hit back to say that the watch has been found, and then you can say, okay, now if I want to search for the phone, I can do the same thing from here. Somewhere. Where's my anti-lost, guys? Is that it, or is that my logs? I think that's my logs. Okay, so there are your call logs. That's my Bluetooth. There we go. No, that's my messages. Anti-lost, here we go. So I can look for the phone. I'll say looking phone and anti-lost. I'm going to go to looking for phone. Now it's just ringing. And as soon as I cancel it, and then I say, okay, I found, you go find your phone and you're good to go. So anti-lost is working, no problems. So let's take a look at some of the other functions on this guy as my video is getting a little bit long. You've got your pedometer here, and that works. I've had no problems with that. And it'll count your steps, so you can pause that and reset it. You can do whatever you want with that. You can swipe to get a whole thing there to switch over. And if you want to go back, you can hit this button on the right-hand side here. You've got messages, so I can actually text message from this phone. So if I want to write a message, I'll just click in here, and it brings up a full keyboard, which is actually pretty cool. I can say hi. It's very hard to do under, and if I want to send this, I can just hit this add person icon right here, and it will actually add from phone book. It will load up my phone book, and it shows a whole ton of different things that it's from my phone book, and then I can cycle through all of those and select. This is the first time I'm loading up my phone book, and it's quite large, so it might take me a second, so I'll go back to this one. And then you can just send it off. It'll send it through Bluetooth, through your phone, and you'll be able to send and receive text messages right on the watch. So excellent that it has a full keyboard. You've got a sleep monitoring for monitoring your sleep. You've got a Bluetooth camera so that you can actually take pictures through the camera on your phone. You've got its own built-in camera, which I want to show you. Sedentary reminder, you can set it to, on 30 minutes, vibrate and ring, whatever you'd like to do there. You've got a calendar built in here, which is actually pretty cool too. You've got a calculator built in, which works very well. You've got, let me get back to where I was. Calculator, you've got a camera here, and as you can see, this camera is not so great. It picks us up in the picture, me filming everything, but it's not the greatest camera, but it's there. It is pointing towards me, which again is not something that I would want in a watch. I would want it pointing away from me because I'd probably be taking pictures of something else and not myself, but you can do selfies with this. It's just not the greatest camera out there. It also does video as well. So you can actually take video with it and do that as well. So that's awesome that it's there. Again, I would have liked the placement maybe to be on the top, kind of like in the Galaxy Gear 2 or something like that. But they did a good job with it. FM radio, again, unless you it's connected to Bluetooth music, so I'm not going to do that, but FM radio will happen if you have a micro USB to headphone, the micro USB headphones connected into the port. You're going to be good to go on your FM radio because it'll use that as an antenna. Unfortunately, they don't give you one. You have to buy it, but you can pick that up again for pretty cheap on Amazon. A photo viewer, SD card manager. They do have a browser, which, you know, if only works if you have a SIM card in the phone. Again, you're going to get 2 3G speeds, so not too helpful there. You've got a media player. Again, if you want to play local files, you can do that, or you can play through Bluetooth and it'll come out on the watch as well. Your contacts here, if you get them from Bluetooth, it'll load all your contacts up, and as you can see, I've got a bunch of contacts in here that I'm not going to go over, you know, that type thing. That I don't want to really show everybody all those contacts, but that's okay. Your call logs, your Bluetooth state, and everything else. So overall, this guy is a very attractive watch. I don't particularly. The band is okay. It's not bad. It's a nice neoprene band, and when you put it on, you're just going to want to loop it through. You're going to want to clamp it down and then loop it through that little loop that you've got there. So it's just kind of like a one in that snaps in. It's kind of hard to do behind the camera, guys, so give me a second on that. And then you're just going to want to pop this guy in. This is like a little inverse, holds it in and away from you, and that actually looks pretty good. That's not a bad. I don't have huge wrists, I don't have small wrists, I have about medium wrists, and this isn't too big. This is about the same size as my Galaxy Gear smartwatch, or Gear 2, I'm sorry, and looks very nice with the curved glass. I love how it looks with the curved glass. They did a pretty good job on this. It is $65, and it's kind of debatable whether it's worth the $65 price point when there are so many others out there. Let me just turn this guy off really quickly and show you the insides. I'm going to power off. Just show you the inside real quick to finish up the review. You got that speaker there, so your speakerphone, as you saw in our test call, was pretty good. I didn't have any problems with this pinhole microphone picking up my voice or anything like that on the test call, so we did pretty good there. Get about a day and a half of battery life on this guy, and you've got a vibrating module here, your speaker here. You've got your battery here, which is a 380 mAh battery at 3.7 volts. Got me about a day and a half with moderate push usage and some pedometer usage. And in the bottom here, you're going to, on the right hand side, you're going to have this micro SD card slot, and I believe it supports up to 64 gigabytes, but I've tested up to 32 and had no problems there. And then you have a lock for your SIM card. It takes a micro SIM. Again, in the United States, I tested it with T-Mobile and it worked no problem. I'll try to list the bands that it supports, but it supports basically, you're looking at 2 or 3G connectivity here in the United States, just so you know. So it's very easy to get into this and just kind of put your battery back in, and then you'll be good to go. You'll pop the cover back on. You'll just line up these three with the speaker so that you've got that. Now this guy is not waterproof, so you're going to want to watch it. You can't take a shower with it, that kind of thing, because water will get in. But again, this isn't, you know, supposed to be. They don't advertise that it's waterproof or anything like that. I think they did a great job. It's, you know, they got this nice steel side here, a nice home button for you to use. Now you can scroll it, but it doesn't do anything, which doesn't bother me at all. Nice curved glass. I was pretty impressed with the display on this guy. Again, a lot of the Android based, or I'm sorry, Linux based smartphones that you're going to see on the market today are just like this. And each of them have their own little nuances. On this guy, the things I don't like, and I will, you know, I have to add in the things I don't like. The band could be a little bit better. It's not too bad. The camera quality could be better. I'm glad it's there. I do like that fact that it has a camera, but it's pointed towards me. And if I'm not going to have use something like Skype or some sort of video conferencing software, it would have been better to be placed on the side or the top, or, you know, wherever, so that I could get a picture of something else. Like if I wanted to take a picture of a note or a piece of paper so that I could remember it for later, then it would have been more practical to do that. But as far as push notifications go, a few different hurdles on getting it connected, but they weren't that hard. People were, I think, having a lot harder of a time than they needed to be. I hope my video helps. You just make sure that your phone under Bluetooth is visible to other devices while you're connecting it. I didn't have any problems with this guy installing in a Chinese language or any other language than English, and for me worked really well. So I think Frewico did a great job with this. It's $65. This is a good mid-range smartwatch that you can get that does a lot of functions, especially if you have an Android phone. So this was Luke from Galaxy Tech Review. If you have any questions or comments about this guy, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Please like and subscribe, and I'll check you guys out on the next video.